Present simple tense. The present simple tense is used to describe actions or situations that are habitual, regular, or true in the present. It's also used to express facts or general truths. 1. Structure of the present simple tense. For positive sentences, subject-base form of the verb V1. For he, she, it, add s or es to the base form of the verb. Examples: I work every day. She works at a bank. They play soccer on weekends. He watches TV after dinner. For negative sentences, subject do does not base form of the verb. Do not, don't is used with I, you, we, they. Does not, doesn't is used with he, she, it. Examples: I don't like coffee. She doesn't drive to work. We don't live in the city. He doesn't study at night. For questions, do does subject base form of the verb. Use do with I, you, we, they. Use does with he, she, it. Examples: do you speak English? Does he play basketball? Do they work from home? Does she enjoy reading? 2. Uses of the present simple tense. A. Habits and routines. Used to talk about actions that happen regularly or habits. Examples: I get up at 7 a.m. every day. She visits her grandparents every weekend. B. Facts and general truths. Used to state facts or truths that are always valid. Examples: the sun rises in the east. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. C. Fixed arrangements. Can be used to talk about events scheduled in the future. For example, timetables. Examples: the train leaves at 6 p.m. The meeting starts at 10 a.m. D. Thoughts and feelings. Used to describe feelings, emotions, thoughts, and opinions. Examples: I believe in hard work. He feels tired today. 3. Irregular verbs. In present simple, most verbs follow the basic rule, but some verbs are irregular, especially the verb to be. Examples: I am a student. She is happy. They are my friends. 4. Spelling rules for verbs with he, she, it. Add s, work, works, play, plays. Add es for verbs ending in tia, x, s, o. Watch, watches, go, goes. Change I to es. If the verb ends with a consonant y, study, studies, try, try. Present continuous tense. The present continuous tense, also known as present progressive tense, is used to describe actions that are happening right now or actions that are ongoing. It can also be used to describe future plans or arrangements. 1. Structure of the present continuous tense for positive sentences. Subject am slash is slash are verb, ing form. Use am with I. Use is with he, she, it. Use are with you, we, they. Examples: I am eating lunch right now. She is reading a book. They are playing soccer. He is studying for his exam. For negative sentences, subject am slash is slash are not verb, ing form. Examples: I am not going to the party tonight. He is not watching TV. They are not working today. We are not traveling tomorrow. For questions, am slash is slash are subject verb, ting form. Examples: are you working on your project? Is she coming to the meeting? Am I doing this right? Are they playing football? 2. Uses of the present continuous tense. A. Actions happening right now. Used to describe actions that are taking place at the moment of speaking. Examples: I am writing a letter now. She is talking on the phone. B. Temporary actions. Describes actions or situations that are temporary, even if not happening right at this moment. Examples: I am living with my parents for the summer. He is working on a project this week. C. Future plans and arrangements. Used to describe future plans that have already been made or arranged. Examples: we are meeting them tomorrow. She is flying to New York next week. D. Actions happening around the present moment. Describes actions that are not happening exactly at the moment of speaking, but around this time. Examples: I am reading a great book these days. They are studying hard for their exams. 3. Spelling rules for ing form. 1. For most verbs, just add ing. Play playing, eat eating. 2. For verbs ending in e, drop the e and add ing. Make making, drive driving. 3. For one-syllable verbs ending in a consonant-vowel consonant, double the last consonant and add ing. Run running, sit sitting. 4. For verbs ending in e, change the I to y and add ing. Lie lying, die dying. 4. Common time expressions used with present continuous. Now, she is working now. At the moment, they are talking at the moment. Currently, he is currently studying for his exams. Right now, I am reading a book right now. 5. Difference between present simple and present continuous. Present simple describes habitual actions or facts. For example, I drink coffee every morning. Present continuous describes actions happening right now or temporary situations. For example, I am drinking coffee right now. Draw. Present perfect tense. The present perfect tense is used to describe actions or events that happened at some point in the past but have relevance to the present moment. It can also describe actions that started in the past and continue into the present. 1. Structure of the present perfect tense. For positive sentences, subject have has past participle, V3 form. Use have with I, you, we, they. Use has with he, she, it. Examples: I have finished my homework. She has visited London several times. They have moved to a new house. He has worked here since 2018. For negative sentences, subject have has not past participle. Examples: I have not, haven't, eaten lunch yet. She has not, hasn't, traveled abroad. They haven't seen that movie. He hasn't finished his assignment. For questions, have has, subject past participle. Examples: have you been to Japan? Has he completed the project? Have they visited the museum? Has she read that book? 2. Uses of the present perfect tense. A. Actions or events with a connection to the present. Describes past actions that are still relevant to the present moment or whose consequences are felt now. Examples: I have lost my keys. They are still lost. She has just arrived. She's here now. They have already eaten. They aren't hungry anymore. B. Experiences in life, without specifying when, used to describe actions or experiences without focusing on when they happened. Examples: I have visited Paris twice. He has never seen snow. They have tried sushi before. C. Actions that started in the past and continue in the present. Describes actions that began in the past and are still ongoing or relevant. Examples: She has lived in New York for 5 years. She still lives there. We have known each other since childhood. He has worked here for a long time. D. Recently completed actions. Used for actions that were completed very recently, often with the adverb just. Examples: I have just finished my homework. They have just left the house. 3. Common time expressions. Used with present perfect. Ever, never. Have you ever been to Italy? I've never been there. Already. She has already seen that movie. Just. They have just arrived. Yet in negative sentences, questions. I haven't finished my work yet. Have you done it yet? For period of time. I have lived here for 10 years. Since point in time. He has worked here since 2020. 4. Difference between present perfect and past simple. Present perfect is used when there is a connection to the present, or the time of the action is unspecified. For example, I have seen that movie. Past simple is used when the action is complete and the time is specific. For example, I saw that movie last week. 5. Examples for practice. 1. I have finished my book. Relevant now. 2. She has traveled to Japan. Experience, unspecified time. 3. We have lived here for 3 years. Ongoing action. 4. They haven't eaten dinner yet. Negative. Present perfect continuous tense. The present perfect continuous tense is used to describe actions or situations that started in the past and have continued up until the present, or have recently stopped but have an effect in the present. It emphasizes the duration or continuity of the action. 1. Structure of the present perfect continuous tense. For positive sentences, subject have, has been verb, ing form. Use have with I, you, we, they. Use has with he, she, it. Examples: I have been working here for 5 years. She has been studying since morning. They have been playing soccer all day. He has been reading that book for hours. For negative sentences, subject have has not been verb, ing form. Examples: I haven't been sleeping well lately. She hasn't been practicing piano regularly. They haven't been working on the project. He hasn't been feeling well this week. For questions, have has subject been verb, ing form. Examples: Have you been waiting long? Has she been exercising regularly? Have they been working on the report? Has he been cooking all morning? 2. Uses of the present perfect continuous tense. A. Actions that started in the past and continue into the present. Describes actions that began in the past and are still ongoing at the time of speaking. Examples: I have been living here for 2 years. I still live here. They have been studying since 8 a.m. They are still studying. B. Actions that recently stopped but have present effects. Describes actions that were ongoing until recently and may have a visible result or effect now. Examples: she has been crying, her eyes are red. They have been running, they're out of breath. C. Focus on duration, often used to emphasize how long an action has been happening. Examples: I have been waiting for the bus for 30 minutes. He has been working here since 2019. 3. Common time expressions used with present, perfect continuous. For duration of time, I have been learning English for 5 years. Since point in time, she has been working here since 2010. Lately or recently, he has been feeling tired lately. All day/week/month. They have been working on this project all week. 4. Examples for practice. 1. I have been learning Spanish for 2 months. Ongoing action. 2. She has been cooking since morning. Action still in progress. 3. They have been traveling a lot recently. Action with recent impact. 4. We have been waiting for the doctor for an hour. Focus on duration. 5. Difference between present perfect and present perfect continuous. Present perfect focuses on the completion of an action or the result of an action. For example, I have finished my homework. Present perfect continuous emphasizes the duration or ongoing nature of an action. For example, I have been doing my homework for 2 hours. Past simple tense. The past. Simple tense is used to describe actions or events that happened and were completed in the past. It is commonly used for specific finished actions that occurred at a definite time. 1. Structure of the past. Simple tense. For positive sentences. Subject past form of the verb, V2. For regular verbs, added to the base form of the verb. For irregular verbs, use the specific past form, learned from memory. Examples: I visited my grandparents last weekend. Regular verb. She went to the store yesterday. Irregular verb. They watched a movie last night. He played football in school. For negative sentences, subject did not, didn't, base form of the verb, V1. Examples: I didn't go to the party. She didn't watch the movie. They didn't finish their homework. He didn't study for the exam. For questions, did subject base form of the verb, V1. Examples: did you see that movie? Did she call you last night? Did they go to the park? Did he finish his work? 2. Uses of the past simple tense. A. Completed actions in the past. Describes actions that started and ended in the past. Examples: I bought a new phone last week. They traveled to Spain last year. B. A series of completed actions. Describes a sequence of actions in the past. Examples: he woke up, brushed his teeth, and went for a walk. She cooked dinner and then watched a movie. C. Actions that happened at a specific time in the past. Describes actions where the specific time is either mentioned or implied. Examples: we met in 2010. Specific time: I saw him last night. 3. Common time expressions used with past simple. Yesterday, I saw her yesterday. Last time period, we went to the beach last summer. Ago, he left the office 2 hours ago. In year, she graduated in 2015. When past, I was at home when he called. 4. Regular and irregular. Verbs in past simple. Regular verbs. For most verbs, Added to form the past tense. Play played, watch watched, listen listened. Irregular verbs. These verbs don't follow a regular pattern and have unique past tense forms. Go went, eat ate, see saw, write wrote. 5. Examples for practice. 1. I bought a new car yesterday. Completed action. 2. She didn't visit her friend last weekend. Negative. 3. Did you finish your homework? Question. 4. They went to the concert last night. Irregular verb. 6. Difference between past simple and present perfect. Past simple is used for actions that are completely finished with a specific time mentioned or understood. For example, I went to the store yesterday. Present perfect is used when the time is not specific or the action has relevance to the present. For example, I have gone to the store many times. Past continuous tense, the past. Continuous tense, also known as the past progressive tense, is used to describe actions that were ongoing or in progress at a specific moment in the past. It often sets the background for shorter actions in the past simple tense. 1. Structure of the past. Continuous tense. For positive sentences, subject was were verb, ing form. Use was with I, he, she, it. Use were with you, we, they. Examples. I was reading a book when you called. She was cooking dinner at 7 p.m. last night. They were playing soccer in the park. We were watching TV all evening. For negative sentences, subject was were not, verb, ing form. Examples. I was not, wasn't sleeping when you arrived. He wasn't working yesterday afternoon. They weren't listening during the lecture. We weren't watching the news at that time. For questions, was, were, subject, verb, ing form. Examples. Were you studying when I called? Was she dancing at the party? Were they playing outside? Was he sleeping at noon? 2. Uses of the past. Continuous tense. A. Actions in progress at a specific time in the past. Describes an action that was happening at a particular moment in the past. Examples. At 8 p.m. last night, I was watching a movie. She was cooking when the phone rang. B. Parallel actions in the past. Describes two or more actions happening simultaneously in the past. Examples. While I was studying, my sister was listening to music. They were playing soccer while we were reading. C. Interrupted actions. Describes a longer action that was interrupted by a shorter action, often expressed in the past simple tense. Examples. I was sleeping when the phone rang. She was driving home when she saw the accident. D. Background information. Sets the scene in a story or describes the background of an event. Examples. It was raining heavily and the streets were flooded. People were waiting in line and the mood was tense. 3. Common time expressions used with past continuous. When past simple, I was eating dinner when she arrived. While past continuous, she was singing while I was playing the piano. At that time, he was working in New York at that time. All day night, they were traveling all night. 4. Examples for practice. 1. I was walking to school when it started raining. Interrupted action. 2. They were talking during the meeting. Action in progress. 3. Was she studying when you arrived? Question. 4. We weren't listening to the teacher. Negative. 5. Difference between past simple and past continuous. Past simple is used for completed actions in the past. For example, I saw him yesterday. Past continuous is used for ongoing actions in the past. For example, I was seeing him when it started raining. Past perfect tense, the past. Perfect tense is used to describe an action that was completed before another action or event in the past. It is often used to show that one action happened before a specific time or another action in the past. 1. Structure of the past. Perfect tense for positive sentences. Subject had past participle, V3 form. Examples: I had finished my homework before dinner. She had already left when I arrived. They had completed the project by the time the boss came. He had studied for hours before the exam started. For negative sentences, subject had not past participle. Examples: I had not, hadn't seen him before the party. She hadn't finished her work by the deadline. They hadn't met each other before the conference. He hadn't studied for the test, so he failed. For questions: had subject past participle? Examples: had you eaten before you went out? Had she left before you arrived? Had they finished their homework before class? Had he worked in that company before moving here? 2. Uses of the past perfect tense. A. Actions completed before another action in the past. The past perfect shows that one action was completed before another action happened in the past, usually in the past simple. Examples: I had already eaten when they arrived. First, had eaten. Second, arrived. She had finished her work before the meeting started. They had left the party before we got there. B. Actions completed before a specific time in the past. Used to describe actions completed before a certain time in the past. Examples: by 8 p.m., they had finished the presentation. We had already packed our bags before the flight. C. Giving reasons or explaining the cause of something in the past. Describes why something happened based on an earlier event. Examples: she was tired because she had been studying all night. He failed the exam because he hadn't prepared well. 3. Common time expressions. Used with past perfect. Before. I had finished the book before I watched the movie. By the time she arrived, I had already left. Already. They had already eaten before the meeting. When we got there, they had left. Just. He had just finished when the phone rang. 4. Examples for practice. 1. By the time I got to the station, the train had left. Completed before another action. 2. She had never seen the ocean before her vacation. First time experience before a point in the past. 3. We hadn't met before the party. Negative. 4. Had they finished the project before the deadline? Question. 5. Difference between past simple and past perfect. Past simple describes a completed action in the past, without focusing on the order of events. For example, I saw him yesterday. Past perfect emphasizes that one action happened before another action or time in the past. For example, I had seen him before the meeting. Past perfect continuous tense. The past perfect continuous. Tense is used to describe an action that started in the past and continued for some time before another action or event in the past. It emphasizes the duration or ongoing nature of the action that occurred before a specific time or another action in the past. 1. Structure of the past. Perfect continuous tense. For positive sentences, subject had been verb, ing form. Examples: I had been studying for 3 hours when the exam started. She had been working at the company for 5 years before she left. They had been playing soccer for an hour when it started raining. He had been waiting for the bus for 30 minutes before it arrived. For negative sentences, subject had not been verb, ing form. Examples: I had not, hadn't, been feeling well before the doctor came. They hadn't been working on the project for long before they took a break. She hadn't been living in the city for very long when she decided to move again. We hadn't been practicing enough before the game, so we lost. For questions, had subject been verb, ing form. Examples: had you been studying before the test started? Had they been waiting for long when the bus arrived? Had she been working at the company for years before she resigned? Had we been practicing enough before the competition? 2. Uses of the past. Perfect continuous tense. A. To show actions. Continuing before another action in the past. Describes an action that had been happening for a duration before another action in the past, usually in the past simple. Examples: I had been reading for an hour when the power went out. She had been cooking dinner for 2 hours before her guests arrived. They had been playing football for 30 minutes when it started to rain. B. To emphasize the duration of an action. Highlights how long an action had been happening before something else occurred. Examples: we had been waiting for the bus for 20 minutes before it finally came. He had been working on the project for weeks before the deadline was extended. C. To explain the cause of something in the past. Describes an ongoing action that explains the reason or background for another event in the past. Examples: she was tired because she had been working all day. They were exhausted because they had been hiking for hours. 3. Common time expressions. Used with past perfect continuous. For duration. He had been working for 5 hours when he took a break. Since point in time. They had been living in New York since 2010 before they moved. When. She had been studying for hours when her friends arrived. By the time we arrived, they had been playing for 2 hours. 4. Examples for practice. 1. I had been reading the book for days before I finished it. Action continuing before another action. 2. They had been working on the project for weeks before the deadline, emphasizing duration. 3. She hadn't been studying much before the exam, so she didn't do well. Negative. 4. Had you been waiting long when the bus finally arrived? Question. 5. Difference between past perfect and past perfect continuous. Past perfect focuses on an action that was completed before another action. For example, I had finished my homework before dinner. Past perfect. Continuous focuses on the duration or ongoing nature of an action that happened before another action. For example, I had been doing my homework for 2 hours before dinner. Future simple tense. The future. Simple tense is used to describe actions or events that will happen in the future. It is often used for decisions made at the moment of speaking, predictions, promises, offers, or future plans. 1. Structure of the future. Simple tense for positive sentences. Subject will base form of the verb. Examples: I will call you tomorrow. She will visit her parents next week. They will go to the party tonight. We will study together later. For negative sentences, subject will not, won't, base form of the verb. Examples: I will not, won't, forget to bring the book. He won't attend the meeting tomorrow. They won't participate in the competition. She won't go to the concert. For questions, will subject base form of the verb. Examples: Will you help me with my homework? Will they come to the party? Will she visit her grandparents this weekend? Will he finish the report by tomorrow? 2. Uses of the future. Simple tense. A. For decisions made at the moment of speaking. Used when you make a decision spontaneously, without prior planning. Examples: I'm tired. I will go to bed now. It's cold. I will close the window. B. For predictions about the future. Used for predictions based on what you think, believe, or imagine will happen. Examples: It will rain tomorrow. I think she will pass the exam. C. For promises, offers, and threats. Used when making promises, offers, or threats about the future. Examples: I will help you with your project. Offer: I will always love you. Promise: if you don't stop, I will tell the teacher. Threat. D. For future plans. Sometimes used for plans, although going to is more commonly used for future intentions. Examples: I will travel to Paris next month. They will meet us at the station tomorrow. 3. Common time expressions. Used with future. Simple: tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow. Next, week, month, year. She will graduate next year. Soon. They will leave soon. In time period. We will finish the project in 2 days. Later. I will call you later. 4. Examples for practice. 1. I will visit my grandparents next weekend. Future plan. 2. She won't attend the party tomorrow. Negative. 3. Will you help me with this task? Question. 4. He will finish the report by tomorrow. Promise. 5. Difference between future simple and other future forms. Future simple, will. Used for spontaneous decisions, predictions, and promises. For example, I will help you. Going to. Used for planned actions or intentions. For example, I'm going to visit my grandparents. Present continuous. Used for definite, arranged plans. For example, I am meeting my friend tomorrow. Future continuous tense. The future continuous tense, also known as the future progressive tense, is used to describe actions that will be ongoing at a specific time in the future. It emphasizes the duration or progress of an action in the future. 1. Structure of the future, continuous tense. For positive sentences, subject will be verb, ing form. Examples: I will be studying at 8 p.m. tonight. She will be working from home tomorrow. They will be traveling to Paris next week. We will be watching a movie this evening. For negative sentences, subject will not, won't, be verb, ing form. Examples: I won't be going to the party tonight. He won't be working tomorrow. They won't be visiting us next weekend. She won't be attending the meeting. For questions: will subject be verb, ing form? Examples: will you be studying later tonight? Will they be traveling to Spain next summer? Will she be working on the project tomorrow? Will we be watching the game later? 2. Uses of the future, continuous tense. A. Actions in progress at a specific time in the future. Describes actions that will be happening at a particular time in the future. Examples: at 10 a.m. tomorrow, I will be taking my exam. She will be working at this time next week. This time next month, we will be traveling through Europe. B. Parallel actions in the future. Describes two or more actions happening simultaneously in the future. Examples: while you will be studying, I will be cooking dinner. They will be playing football while we will be reading. C. Polite or indirect questions about someone's future plans. Used when asking politely about someone's future plans or availability. Examples: will you be using the car tomorrow? Will she be attending the meeting? D. Assumptions or guesses about future actions. Used to make assumptions or predictions about what someone will be doing at a certain time in the future. Examples: she will be sleeping by now, so don't call her. They will be arriving soon, I'm sure. 3. Common time expressions used with future continuous. At this time tomorrow, next week. I will be working at this time tomorrow. In the future, they will be traveling a lot in the future. When simple present, when you arrive, I will be waiting. Later, we will be seeing them later today. 4. Examples for practice. 1. At 9 p.m. tonight, I will be watching my favorite TV show. Specific time. 2. He won't be attending the meeting tomorrow. Negative. 3. Will you be using the computer later? Question. 4. By next year they will be living in a new city. Future plan. 5. Difference between future simple and future continuous. Future simple describes actions that will happen at a specific point in the future, without emphasizing duration. For example, I will eat dinner at 7 p.m. The future perfect tense is used to describe actions that will be completed at or before a specific time in the future. It focuses on the completion of an action by a certain point in time. 1. Structure of the future. Perfect tense. For positive sentences, subject will have past participle, V3 form. Examples: by next year I will have graduated from university. She will have finished the project by tomorrow. They will have left by the time we arrive. We will have completed the assignment by the deadline. For negative sentences, subject will not, won't, have past participle. Examples: I won't have finished my work by 5 p.m. He won't have completed the report before the meeting. They won't have arrived by noon. She won't have cleaned the house by the time you get home. For questions: will subject have past participle? Examples: will you have completed your homework by tomorrow? Will they have finished the project by the deadline? Will she have arrived by the time the movie starts? Will he have written the article by the end of the day? 2. Uses of the future, perfect tense. A. Actions completed before a specific time in the future. Describes actions that will be completed before a certain point in the future. Examples: By 8 p.m., I will have finished my homework. She will have left for the airport by the time you get home. They will have moved into their new house by next month. B. Actions completed before another future action. Describes an action that will be finished before another action takes place in the future. Examples: I will have eaten dinner before they arrive. By the time you wake up, I will have left for work. 3. Common time expressions. Used with future perfect. By a specific time. I will have completed the project by tomorrow. Before. She will have left the office before 5 p.m. By the time you arrive, I will have finished the meeting. In time period, they will have traveled to 5 countries in 3 months. 4. Examples for practice. 1. By the end of the year, I will have saved enough money for my vacation. Completed action before a future time. 2. He won't have finished his work by 10 p.m. Negative. 3. Will they have arrived by noon? Question. 4. By next summer we will have moved to a new house. Completed action. 5. Difference between future simple and future perfect. Future simple focuses on an action that will happen in the future. For example, I will finish my homework tomorrow. Future perfect emphasizes that an action will be completed by a specific time in the future. For example, I will have finished my homework by tomorrow. Future perfect continuous tense. The future perfect continuous tense is used to describe an action that will be ongoing for a certain duration before a specified time in the future. It emphasizes the duration of an action that will have continued up to a certain point in the future. 1. Structure of the future perfect continuous tense. For positive sentences, subject will have been verb, during form. Examples: by next year, I will have been working at this company for 5 years. She will have been studying for 3 hours by the time the exam starts. They will have been traveling for 6 months by the end of the year. We will have been living in this city for a decade by 2030. For negative sentences, subject will not, won't, have been verb, ing form. Examples: I won't have been working here long enough by the time the promotion happens. He won't have been waiting for more than an hour when we arrive. They won't have been practicing long enough to win the competition. She won't have been sleeping by the time you get home. For questions, will subject have been verb, ing form. Examples: will you have been studying for 3 hours by the time the test begins? Will they have been working on this project for 6 months by next year? Will she have been traveling for a long time by then? Will he have been living in the city for 10 years by next July? 2. Uses of the future perfect continuous tense. A. To show duration of an action. Before a certain time in the future describes an action that will have continued for some time before a specific point in the future. Examples: by 5 p.m. I will have been studying for 3 hours. By next month, they will have been working on the project for a year. By the end of this year, she will have been teaching at the school for 10 years. B. To emphasize the length of time of an action in the future. Highlights how long an action will have been happening before a future event or time. Examples: he will have been waiting for over 2 hours by the time the bus arrives. They will have been living abroad for 5 years by the time they return home. 3. Common time expressions. Used with future, perfect continuous. By a specific time, I will have been working here by next month. For a period of time, they will have been traveling for 6 months by then. Before, she will have been studying for hours before the exam starts. By the time you arrive, we will have been waiting for an hour. 4. Examples for practice. 1. By the end of this year, I will have been working at this company for 10 years. Duration of action. 2. They won't have been practicing enough by the time the competition begins. Negative. 3. Will she have been studying for 4 hours by the time the test starts? Question. 4. By next week we will have been preparing for the event for 2 months. Length of time. 5. Difference between future perfect and future perfect continuous. Future perfect focuses on the completion of an action before a specific time. For example, I will have finished my homework by 8 p.m. Quote. Future perfect continuous emphasizes the duration of an action that will be ongoing before a specific time. For example, I will have been studying for 3 hours by 8 p.m. Thanks
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Have a nice day.